Oh, bollocks. Ah! It's not a walkthrough, playthrough, review, anything like that. It's just me playing the game badly so you can see what it looks like. Sprites, présente, un jeu, and something. I can't read that. It's in French. You read it, if you can. Honey Kong, with more writing that is really hard to read, and probably I would struggle if it was in English, but it's in French. Honey Kong. So it's oh, which is left and which is right? Gauche and droit. Okay, well we'll go there. Oh, bollocks. No, I've screwed it up. No, that's not going to work. that is so not going to work. Balls. Here we are again. I still can't read that. Okay. Left. Right, I do hope. Oh crap. Now I've got that wrong. Here we are again. Deja vu. It's a glitch in the Matrix. Check your windows, they've been bricked up. So, I wish I spoke French. I mean, I kind of don't care, but it would be useful at this point. Hoping that says left, hoping that says right, hoping that means up, hoping that means down, and hoping that means jump. Because it is Donkey Kong, and the last time I played Donkey Kong, wow, I love the way he turns around. The last time I played Donkey Kong on an... Oh, bollocks. Oh, that's great. The last time I played Donkey Kong on an Oric was a game called Donkey King. No, Diddy Kong. Donkey King is on the dragon and it's great. Bollocks. Diddy Kong. Was it called Diddy Kong? I don't know. It was shite. It was unbelievably crap. It couldn't have been Diddy Kong. Can't remember. It was crap. It was terrible. It was awful. This, while the jumping is, you got to be way, you got to learn how to jump. Oh crap! He jumps a long way, and you got to be at the peak of your jump as the barrel goes under you, which makes sense, but it's like, what, yeah, I wanna, oh, you gotta press return. Oh God, oh, isn't it, not Y, oh. Come on, please. Can I delete those? Aha! Oh God. Anyway, what was I saying? The last Oric Donkey Kong game I played was rubbish. This would be great, but I can't get up the ladder. Here we go. Whoops! Yay! And again. Yay! And again. Oh, balls. I really like it. The jumping is tricky, but that animation is... That's great. I mean, I don't know what the hell he is. He looks like Father Christmas there, but he looks like Andy Cap there. Oh, Mario with a flat cap, probably a glass of wine. He's French. The French wear berets, not flat caps, but he's definitely wearing a flat cap. Come on, up there, up. Come on, up the bloody ladder. It's not ever so precise. No, oh, way up. We've landed on the ladder, but he doesn't want to climb it. Come on, come on. You're gonna. Oh God. I was saying I love this and it's great. I'm not entirely sure that that's accurate. And why on earth have they called it Honey Kong? Is it just that it looks like a similar looking word? The H looks like an M and there's just no K. Something. The H looking like an M wouldn't make it sound like donkey, it would make it look like monkey, but whatever. I've seen a game called Monkey Kong actually, which, guess what, it was a Donkey Kong clone, and I'm now just looking at Kong and thinking he's got an incredibly small penis. I'm sure that's not what that's intended to be. Really? No. I'm gonna shut up before I get myself sort of a strike or something. I haven't been drinking either, I'm just in a stupid mood. French video games do. Wow, that's not good, is it? Don't do that. Okay, thank you for watching. Hello. Today's question for Q&A is from Leahy84. Link to their channel down there. They ask, for Q&A, how do you feel about mortality and the fact that you will die one day? I've been struggling with this, and to be honest, it terrifies me. Interested in your input on the subject. Oh boy. That is a question. Yeah, it is a thing that I do think about, and it causes me to think of other things, and let me turn this down, it's distracting me, and go down a real rabbit hole, and I'm going to take you there with me. Okay, I am not religious, so I do not believe that there is God and he has heaven and when you die you go to heaven. That to me is just a bullshit way out. To try and relieve the fear of death and explain all of those things that we don't understand. Hey, I don't know how this works or why this is. I know God. No, sorry, bollocks. And more than that, I absolutely, totally and utterly reject every single religion, because they aren't even about God. They're about control and power and money, and I detest them. So, yeah, okay. That's a different rabbit hole that I don't want to go down. I respect absolutely anyone's right to follow any faith they choose. I respect their right, but I don't respect their choice. Sorry about that. No, sorry, not sorry. That's just how I feel about it. Death. My feelings on it are different now than they were when I was younger. Certainly in my 20s and 30s, I pretty much thought I was immortal. I understood that death was a thing, but I didn't think it applied to me. That was a long way into the future, so far into the future that I would never get there, so it didn't matter. They would cure death before I got that old. That's how I thought. I didn't think about it very deeply, to be honest. It was only when I was about 40 or thereabouts, my sister-in-law died. She was 52, so I mean she was younger than me. She died, and that brought death like to my door as an adult. I'd had grandparents die when I was a kid, and indeed in my 20s, but it all seemed kind of abstract. But by the time I was 40, it was a reality that I was prepared to look at and consider and think, that's someone who's not much older than me, and they've died. It brought death into my world. And I was quite horrified. I realised that death applied to me too, and I didn't like that. And then more than that, not too much long after that, I had what we'll call a heart scare. I was getting pains in my chest, in my left shoulder, down my left arm. Obvious warning signs of a heart problem, impending heart attack. Went to the doctor, who was like, oh, we'll put you on an ECG, we'll do some tests. They put me on an electrocardiogram, and while he looked at the results and the nurse looked at the results and were like, we can't say anything weird there, the machine itself said, no, there's something wrong there. So they sent me for further tests. I went for an echocardiogram, which is like an ultrasound scan of the heart, and it was like inconclusive. So they sent me for a stress test, where they bung you on a treadmill, you run until you feel like you're going to die, and they hope you don't have a heart attack. And that came up like, maybe. I think my blood pressure was not dropping quickly enough after doing the test. Of course, no one thought about white coat syndrome. I'm surrounded by pretty nurses who were like, whatever. And Asperger's. Yeah, my blood pressure is high anyway. But, you know, they looked at that and were like, okay, we're going to send you for a, cardioangiogram, which is absolutely bloody horrible. Long story short, it came back, nope, I was fine. But in between the being put on, having the ECG and having the cardioangiogram, I was put on, what was I put on? Low dose aspirin, statins, and a beta blocker. And the beta blocker, they definitely got the dose too high, so it slowed my heart down to the point that I just couldn't function. I couldn't cross the room. My body wasn't getting enough oxygen. But it caused me to think, it didn't initially occur to me that it was the beta blocker that was doing that. I just thought, oh God, I'm dying. I'm going to die, and I'm going to die soon. And that terrified me, because at that point I was like, I haven't lived nearly enough. I haven't done half of the things I want to do. I don't even know how many other things there are that I would want to do that I haven't found out about yet. It's too soon. I was terrified and horrified and angry. And it was such a relief to find out, actually, no, your heart's fine, you can stop taking all those pills, and within a day I felt much better, thank you very much. The pain that I was suffering was, a part of it was gastric reflux, and just pain radiating everywhere, and part of it is my neck is knackered, and pain from that radiates as well, and bad posture, and combination of things that came up looking like bad heart when actually it wasn't. But anyway, that brought home to me just how much I didn't really want to die yet, and it got me thinking about death in more depth. What do I think about it now? This feeds into something that I've been interested in since I was about 19 or 20, which is the nature of reality. And I've covered this many years ago. I did a video about it, and I think I've talked about it here before. And I've kind of studied more and understand a little bit more of the science behind it, but it's still very much in layman's terms, because I suck at maths, and this involves really, really bloody heavy-duty maths. I've seen the equations, my brain explodes, or it would actually if I tried to even comprehend them, but I just don't. I listen to what the person's saying and try to understand the concept without bothering with the maths. There are a couple of things that I find interesting. One is in quantum mechanics. Trying to think how much of this I'm going to explain Some of you will already know this, some of you will understand it better than me, some of you who understand it better than me might come back and say you got that wrong. Whatever. You've got subatomic particles which exist in what is called a superposition, and by subatomic particles, things like electrons, protons, or all that kind of good stuff. They exist in a superposition, which means they might be here, they might be here, they might be here, they might be here, they might have this value or that value or the other, but the superposition is that they exist in all of those in a waveform, that you can describe their existence in many states all at the same time and describe that as a waveform. That's the basics of it. Like you can have a sunlight, and I'm experiencing that in the extreme right now because it's right in my face. That sunlight is hitting me it's coming down at me in a wave. It's sunlight, it's waves of light, but I'm experiencing it as photons. My retina measures the waveform and it experiences it as a particle. The photons are fucking hurting. As soon as you measure the waveform, you collapse the waveform and perceive it as a particle, and that is called decoherence. As soon as you measure the superposition of a particle within a waveform, you collapse the waveform and perceive it creates decoherence. The waveform collapses and you just perceive one of the possible values. And this is where it gets interesting. There is a train of thought that says decoherence is not real. You don't collapse the waveform. It's just that you can't experience the full, all of the possible values of the waveform. You just perceive one, and you create a reality that breaks you away from the waveform, and all of those other possibilities still exist, but in a branched universe, or rather many branched universes. There is a branched universe for every possible value of that waveform, or the superposition of the particles within that waveform. So it comes down to there are many, 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 many realities, many universes. And we just exist in one, and we experience it as the result of chance, choice, whatever. Wherever there is a branched possibility of it could be this, it could be that, bam, instantly new universe. Now, taking that and then looking at how time works and the idea that time is actually an illusion. I should go and shut the blind, really, because I'm stupid. Bear with me. It served as a decent demonstrator of waveforms and crap, but really that was just a pain in the arse, and I should have closed it sooner. Anyway, yeah, time. It may be an illusion. Time doesn't... Past, present, future all exist at once. And our perception of it is just an illusion, and how we experience it because of how we're constructed, our function, if you like, within, I don't know, a humongous great big waveform that creates reality. Something like that. But if you take all of that, the entirety of time from the Big Bang, or if there was time before the Big Bang, who knows, to the end of time, where all you've got is like the last black hole is evaporated through Hawking radiation and there's literally nothing left. All of that exists at once in every single possible iteration of
the universe. That's a lot of shit. That's a lot of possibilities over a humongous, great, big time. All of that exists at once. And I've forgotten where I was going with that. Suppose you could, when you die, on a physical sense, presuming that physical reality exists at all, and it's not just that we're some kind of consciousness that is like a filter to experience the information that describes reality. That's the thing. We'll get onto that in a bit. Is reality real, or is it just information and we're just perceiving it? But suppose after you die that the construct that is your physical body becomes an irrelevance, and consciousness, or whatever it is that makes you merges back into that greater everything, past, present, future, every single reality. It's still there. It all existed. But what about if the filter that keeps you separate from it is gone, and so you become aware of the whole lot and every single thing? The difficulty I have with that is that without the perception of time, would there be an awareness? It's just a mass of information. You know, you've got all these branching possibilities, but they're all existing at once without having an awareness flowing through time of all of these branches. It's just like I'm looking now for a book, any book. Here's a book. It's a book that it's not right. It's not a story, but let's presume that that's a story. You have to take the time to read each individual page to get the story. And that's where the value is, in the story. But it all exists at once, right here, in this lump of information. Suppose the universe is like that, or reality is like that. It takes an existence, a being like a human, to give it meaning, to give it value. But it's all there already, you know. Everything in this supposed story is there, is written. But as an object full of information, it has no value. It has to be experienced. But yeah, when we die, we're still in that. We haven't gone. We still exist. I don't know what I think about that, because we might still exist, but do we have meaning? I guess the meaning is there, but we're not experiencing it. Whatever. What about, I mean, if you go back into that, do you have awareness? Could you be aware of every single thing that's in that book? I don't know. But it's something I like to think about. I don't have the answers. There's another thing that I watched in a documentary recently about black holes. I watched two different documentaries that basically said exactly the same thing. One was by Brian Cox, it was that universe thing that he's been doing recently, and another one by this guy Al something or other, whose name I don't remember, and he's got a load of documentaries on Amazon Prime about black holes and how everything that goes into a black hole, while the matter might be compressed and potentially destroyed or whatever, the information, is it Einstein, someone, or Hawking, someone said, information is not destroyed. You can destroy matter, you can't destroy energy, and energy describes information, or can describe something. Literally, you cannot destroy information. I don't completely understand that, but it was suggested that that information can spontaneously come back out of a black hole. And given the infinite, almost, length of time that the universe and black holes and supermassive black holes can exist, and probability and probability over that length of time. Literally anything could pop out of a black hole. You know, mostly it's just going to be incoherent masses of energy, but a string quartet or an orchestra or something or other could just suddenly spontaneously pop out of a black hole. I struggle with that. And it was also suggested that that information goes somewhere, like the black hole leads somewhere, and that all the information that went into it comes out somewhere else, which is kind of interesting. And it's like, okay, if you get swallowed by a black hole, you're gonna die, but you might reappear somewhere else. I struggle with that. I find it interesting. I don't... I don't I don't think it's something I'm going to ponder on too much, because it's a little bit too bizarre for me to make anything of that means anything to me or that I find useful. But it is an interesting thing to think about in an abstract kind of way. Ultimately, I find I'm thinking about all of this to distract myself from the fact that, just like people who opt for religion, I am terrified of death, and I would like to think that this body conking out and decomposing and rotting back into the earth, or more likely being burned in a incinerator, I'd like to think there's something else and it's not all over. I mean, I suppose at 53 I am less worried about death than I was at 40. I have lived a good chunk more in that decade and a bit. I don't want to die right now, absolutely not. And I think actually if I was faced with the possibility of death the way I thought I was in my 40s, I would be equally as horrified. But right now, I suppose also partly I'm not living in fear of the Cold War and impending nuclear Armageddon. That for a long while I was terrified. Oh my God, I could die any minute. I don't feel that impending terror, partly because I don't feel imminent death like looming, but also because I've lived a fuller life. I've done a chunk more, but I'm still excited for things that could happen in the future, and I want to see them, and I don't want to die yet, because metaverse, I don't care for the Facebook plan, Mark Zuckerberg's plan of metaverse, but really what he's describing is the thing that I've been describing for over a decade. If you go all the way back to my first video where I built that virtual reality headset, and around that time I was describing what I thought was going to happen, VR and AR, and how that would fit into the world, and you would have to have it. That's metaverse as it's being described by Zuckerberg, or something along those lines. So you heard it here first back then. I want to see all that. I don't want to die until I want to know, are there aliens out there? Are we going to go into space and colonize planets and stuff? All the things that humanity might do, though the state of the planet at the moment, I'm not at all sure we'll survive that long. And I kind of want to see that as well. I mean, I sort of think, actually, I have this image of me in about 10 to 15 years laying in a ditch somewhere, parched and dying of heat. I'm laughing, but it's terrifying. I want to... The future interests me, and I don't want to die. And I think about things that suggest it's not the end. If you die now, there's something else. And like I said, it's just my equivalent of religion, I guess. It might be all bullshit. It might just be that your body dies and you're done, finished, game over. But I'd like to think it's not. But that might just be wishful thinking. I look for possibilities. I don't have any answers, but just knowing that there are possibilities is, it's not reassuring because I don't have faith. But it's nice to have just a glimmer of hope. Yeah, tiny, tiny little glimmer. Might not be the end. Might be something else. I hope that's true. I have no faith. So, we'll see. Wow. You don't get that here too often. I'll stop now. Okay, anyone else who's got any questions they would like answering in a video, not necessarily like this one, please leave your questions in the comments below and begin with 4 Q&A so I know not to just answer in the comments and be glad I wouldn't try and answer one like this in the comments because my god. Thank you for watching.
Right, hit the subscribe button or I'm getting naked on camera. Go on, do it. Right, you asked for it. Ah, you asked for it. Ha, ha, oh.